Hi, this is Mel. I hope all of you are doing awesome. Today I'm going to read some of the articles from the book I got from the library. Now, this is called Coming Home Timeless Wisdom for Families by Dr. James Dobson. So, I'm going to read about 3 or 4 articles. I've been reading, this is my third one on this book, third time. So this article name is Dishonest Emotions. I had a friend who won a Bronze Star for courage in Vietnam, but the first night his unit arrived on the battlefield, he and the other men were scared to death. They dug foxholes and nervously watched the sun disappear beyond the horizon. At approximately midnight, the enemy attacked with a vengeance. Before long, all the soldiers were firing fanatically and throwing hand grenades. In the darkness, the battle raged throughout the night, and the troops appeared to be winning. At last, the sun came up and the body count began, but not one dead Vectagon soldier lay at the perimeters of the mountain. In fact, no enemy had been there. The nervous troops had imagined the entire attack. The reaction of the man was typical of frightened people of any age. The mind will generate evidence to validate anxieties. A person who fears cancer, for example, will sometimes develop all the telltale symptoms even though no disease process is there. And a child who wakes at night will hear scary sounds echoing throughout the house. That's just the way our emotions work. So before you panic, cool down a bit. The danger might be and probably is imaginary. So that is true, and that's why we need to be careful about what we hear and what we watch, especially what we watch. Whatever you watch, you begin to manifest it in your system. So be careful what you're watching. And the yogis used to not watch anything because they limit what they see, what they hear, because they were focusing on one thing. So too many things you watch or see that takes you away from your goal and your focus. So now we're going to go to the second article, and it's called Invertebrate Liars. We've been discussing the nature of human emotions and how they distort reality. Here's another example. The city of Los Angeles was paralyzed with fear in 1969 when Charles Manson and his family murdered many people in cold blood. Residents wondered who would be next. My mother was quite convinced that she was the prime candidate. Sure enough, Mom and Dad heard the intruder as they lay in bed one night. Thump came the sound from the area of the kitchen. Did you hear that? Asked my mother. Yes. Be quiet, said father. They lay staring into the darkness, breathing slowly, listening for further clues. A second thump brought them to their feet. They felt their way to the bedroom door, which was closed. Mom popped her foot against the door and threw her weight against the upper section. My father characteristically wanted to comfort the attacker head on. He reached through the darkness and grasped the doorknob, but his pull met the resistance from my mother. Dad assumed someone was holding the door from the other side, while mother could feel the killer trying to force it open. My parents stood there in the blackness, struggling against one another and imagining themselves to be in a tug of war with the killer. Finally, mother ran to the window to scream, which allowed Dad to open the door. That's when she noticed the light was on in the hall, and in reality, no prowler was there. The thumbs were never identified, and Charles Manson never made his anticipated visit. This story illustrates the way fearful people can be deceived by human emotions. Feelings are inveterate liars that often confirm our worst fears. That's why I wrote a book whose title asks this question: Emotions, can you trust them? It took me 200 pages to say no. Let's read the Talking to a Teen. There are some teenagers who sail right through the adolescent experience with hardly any evidence of turbulence. They make wonderful grades in school. They are a delight to their teachers and a treasure to their parents. But there are others, as we all know, who seem to declare war on the world and stay mad for the next 10 years. Mark Twain was referring to this second kind of kid when he wrote, "When a child turns 12, you should put him in a barrel, nail a lid down, and feed him through a knothole. When he turns 16, you should seal up the knothole." There are times when parents have reasons to feel that way. To be sure, Irma Bombeck said she wasn't going to pay $2,000 to straighten the teeth of a kid who never smiled. Another mother talked about how her son had been a chatterbox throughout childhood, but when he became teenager, his vocabulary consisted of only 9-word phrases. They were, "I don't know, maybe, I forget, no, P.S. Who, me?" And he did it. Well, what are you going to do if your sweet, cutty, cooperative pre-teenagers turn into a sullen, silent adolescent? The answer is you go right on loving him or her. What is going on inside that youngster's hormonally and emotionally explains much of what you see on the outside, but it won't always be that way. Better days are coming. The smile and a rich vocabulary will return, I promise. So thank you. I'll read some more later. Bye bye.